Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Joined now for the second time on this show by longtime NHL analyst, former NHL executive, now with the Eye Test podcast, part of the Sick podcast umbrella. He does the show with Jimmy Murphy. It's Pierre McGuire. Thanks for doing this, sir. Took a while, but we got you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Don and Rick, fantastic to visit with both of you. And I do consider Vancouver an unbelievably heavy hockey market. So I know what you're talking about with Columbus is a little different, but what a great hockey market Vancouver is.
I would agree. They care a lot about their Canucks. Hey, Pierre, I want to go back a bit here. Pittsburgh wins the Cup in 1992. Rick Tocchet, over a point-a-game player coming over from Philadelphia. Pierre McGuire, an assistant with the Penguins back then. What does Coach McGuire remember about 1992 and the role Rick Tocchet played?
How tough he was, how smart he was, how much of a selfless player he was, how coachable he was. He was just a sponge for information. Scotty Bowman told me to go pick him up at the airport. He and Shel Samuelson came in together from Philadelphia, and I picked him up, and we went and had breakfast. The Westin Hotel is called the William Penn in Pittsburgh. So we had breakfast in the room, and we were going over system stuff. Scotty didn't want him to come to the rink until he thought that they could practice at our level. So I kind of did him a deep debrief on our systems and how we run practice, and they both went out that day and had a great day. Rick was just such a critical component to our team, as was Shell. The thing that Rick brought was instantaneous credibility with our star players. Think about our roster. Joey Mullen, Kevin Stevens, Mario Lemieux, Ronnie Francis, Brian Trottier, Olfie Sam. Like, you look at it, it's a Jaromir Jagr. It's a murderer's row of high-end players, and if you're not prepared to play with those guys, they can make fun of you pretty quick. Rick came in and instantaneously just was so revered by his teammates. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was a risky trade. They won the Stanley Cup the year before. You give up Mark Recchi in a first-rounder, and it all worked out. Rick Tocchet doesn't have a contract right now with the Canucks for next year. What's your best guess on his future, Pierre?
Well, if they don't sign him, he won't be out of work long. He'll get a job somewhere, and he'll be a head coach somewhere else. He's a really good coach. I don't know what went on earlier this year. You men are far closer to it than I am with Pettersson and JT Miller. I don't know what that did to the infrastructure of the dressing room. I don't know what it did to the infrastructure of the organization. Clearly something wasn't right. I like what they've done as a management team. Drew O'Connor's going to be a really good player for them. Marcus Pettersson's a really solid shutdown guy and a very good top four guy. I'd say he's more like a 3-4 than he is a 1-2. But still good acquisitions. Jake DeBrusk was a good acquisition out of Boston. So, they've done a lot of good things. You guys, and Philip Heedle's got a chance to be a real good player for you guys. If Rick stays there in particular, I know that he'll know how to corral that kid and make him a real good player. You guys know better than I do, but something happened there because this team doesn't look right.
Pierre, you clearly don't watch this show a lot. There's no way we know more than you, my friend.
Yes, that is true, Pierre. Pierre, you've been in the heat of NHL trade deadlines many, many times. What should the Canucks do with Boeser, Brock Boeser, Pierre, out in Vancouver?
Well, first of all, I don't know how many people in Vancouver know what a great person Brock is. He's an amazing person. I'm just going to give you a quick story. My son was playing junior in Penticton for Freddie Harbinson with the V's probably 4 or 5 years ago, and there was a young man in their community that had cancer, and he and his mother went to the Ronald McDonald House down in Vancouver, and Freddie called me up and he said, "Hey, do you know anybody in the Canucks organization?" I said, "Yeah, I know a kid that's a tremendous kid, Brock Boeser." So he says, "Well, believe it or not, this young person that's in Ronald McDonald's house, his favorite player is Brock Boeser." So I called Brock up, and I said, "Look, there's this young man," and he says, "Don't worry, I got it, Pierre. I'll take care of it." He drove right down there with a game sweater, signed it, spent time with the kid, and then went back. I don't know if they were going on a road trip or not, but I know it was a labor for him to do that, and he did it. So I just like Brock. I liked him ever since his draft year. I watched him play at University of North Dakota. If they can't get him signed, they're going to have to move him. That's just it. You can't lose that asset for nothing. So if he can't get signed, they have to move him.
Pierre, give us your thoughts on Elias Pettersson. I mean, just players like him, 100-point guys, just don't fall off a cliff and lose their talent. What's going on there when you watch the Canucks and him play?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Last night, I was really ticked off, and I don't get mad at players very often. I get frustrated, but not mad. I was mad last night. I watched him lose that face-off clean to Matty Beniers, and that's his job. He's got to take Matty Beniers, and then Beniers gets a tip in, obviously from the point shot. And, Rick, I got to tell you right now, I'm watching that, I'm going, that kid's lucky I'm not coaching him, because he would be in my room. His body language was brutal. His effort level on the face-off was brutal. I was really upset watching that. I'm like, whoa. You got to compete a little bit there, man. You got to get in the dirt and roll around a little bit, and he didn't do that. And so he would be, if I were still working, he'd be in my office. He wouldn't be having a lot of fun with the video machine, I can tell you that.
What's his biggest issue, Pierre? Rick Tocchet talks a lot about him not shooting enough, not moving his feet enough. A lot of people feel his skating isn't strong. What do you think's wrong?
I wish he'd move his feet more, Don. I really would. I like the player a lot. I don't know the person. I will be totally transparent with you. I do not know the person at all. But I know the player. And when that kid was playing really well, he was moving his feet. He was tough to defend off the rush. He was very good off the cycle. He was strong on the puck. He made the players around him better. So part of it, Rick is right. He's got to move his feet. But the other part that's frustrating is there's got to be a second and third effort. I remember, again, you grow up in Pittsburgh and you're watching these great football teams play the Pittsburgh Steelers or the University of Pittsburgh or Penn State. But I remember the late Chuck Noll was a coach that was there when we were coaching in Pittsburgh in 91 or 92 when we won the 2 cups. And he used to talk about championship effort. And guys that had championship effort went to the extra mile. Tocchet was one of those guys. He was amazing at championship effort. I don't think Pettersson's doing that. I don't see that. And he's got to start doing that. He's got to start.
Off the subject of the Canucks, parity, Pierre. Do you have any idea who's going to win the Cup? Jets, Caps, Stars, Knights, Leafs, Panthers, Lightning, Oilers. What a season it is so far.
This is exactly what the league wanted in 2004, 2005 when we had the nuclear winter and the salary cap was created. Parity. And we have unbelievable parity in the league. And if there was ever 2 more teams to come in a league, and I believe there will be because it's not hockey-related revenue, they'll try to get that done before they get a extension on the collective bargaining agreement. We're going to have parity like you've never seen for probably 15 to 20 years. It's amazing. Usually you have a pretty good idea who the Final Four will be. I don't think everybody thinks they're an expert, but most people don't tell you exactly who they picked until, I had that team after it's done, but they don't tell you before. I couldn't tell you who the Final Four will be. The one thing I'd say is I could tell you who's trending the right way. I think Toronto's trending the right way. They're winning games and they're not playing well. They're trending the right way. They've won 5 straight. I think the Florida Panthers are starting to trend the right way by the acquisition of Seth Jones. Tampa Bay Lightning are trending the right way. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. It's pretty impressive. I think Colorado, their general manager, has done a fantastic job with Joe Sakic, making them better and trending the right way. So there's some teams that are definitely trending the right way.
Well, now I know why we haven't had you on since 2021. You just said the Leafs are trending the right way. You can't do that on a Vancouver station, Pierre. It's not allowed.
Oh, but listen, I grew up in Montreal, and Rick knows this. Rick's been kind enough to come on our show a lot, Don, and I remember when we used to do a lot of shows together, you and I.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this right now, and I'm Montreal Canadiens proud and everything else. I never worked for the team except doing their media stuff. So I never liked the Leafs. But I can tell you right now, this is the best Leafs team I've seen since former Vancouver Canuck and general manager Pat Quinn was there. This is the best team I've seen them have since Pat was there.
Well, you made good by mentioning Pat Quinn.
Yeah.
We got to get you back on soon, Pierre. Thanks so much for this, my friend.
Oh, my gosh. I'll come on anytime. Rick, you're such a gentleman when you come on our show. And like I said, I used to do a ton of late-night stuff with Don. I'll never forget those shows. It was phenomenal. I was really appreciative. I was just starting out in the business, and you were amazingly kind to me, and I was really grateful for that.
No, Bob McKenzie said to us, you know what, I can't do this anymore, but we got an up-and-comer here. His name's Pierre McGuire, and it all worked out.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Pierre.
Well, thank you. And Rick Dollar, you are a rock star at what you do, man. Keep it up. Thank you.